Hello, good day. Okay, so welcome to another fruitful discussion with Mrs. M. So today we will discuss about executive clemency, its forms, and detailed explanation on the various forms of executive clemency. Okay, so when you say executive clemency, it is the power of the president in criminal cases and in state convictions to pardon a person convicted of a crime. Okay, when you say convicted, meaning to say that a final judgment has already been rendered. Another, commute the sentence, meaning to say to lessen the number of years of sentence or to reduce it from death to another lesser sentence. So there are many reasons for exercising this executive clemency, which includes, first, is the real doubt about the guilt of the party. Another, there is an apparent excessive sentence. Next is humanitarian concerns such as illness or due to the age of the inmate. And another, to clear the record of one who has demonstrated rehabilitation or public service, or because the party is a political or personal friend of the president. But most importantly, your executive clemency are normally given if for humanitarian reasons. That is the common thing that is being utilized, like studying for political and personal reasons. So, ang pangutana, who is allowed to grant executive clemency? So, though this is a very simple question, but I think it's also very important to make sure that everything is clear. So, of course, pagkamalang executive clemency, therefore, the only granting authority of executive clemency is the president. Okay? So, the president, under the Philippine Constitution, 1987, it clearly provided there that the president can grant reprieve, can grant commutation of sentence, can grant pardon, and even the remit of fines and forfeiture after the conviction of a final judgment. However, there are also instances or circumstances that even if final judgment is not yet rendered, but executive clemency can be extended. One and the only example for that circumstance or instance is your amnesty. Kaya naman, in amnesty manggod, in amnesty manggod as a form of executive clemency, it can be given before or after conviction. But then again, the power to grant is not automatically exercised by the president. Nga naman, kinahanglan that the president itself should make sure that the grant of amnesty for a group of political offenders or groups of political offenders has acquired the concurrence of the Congress. When I say concurrence of the Congress, meaning to say that both the upper house and the lower house, or in simpler term, the senators and the representatives agreed to, majority of the population agreed that amnesty will be extended to this group of political offenders. So, let us continue. So, more to instance nga, pwede mahatag before or after conviction. But the rest of the executive clemency, like the reprieve, commutation of sentence, like a pardon, the remit of fines or forfeiture, this should be given after conviction. And it should be emphasized that the conviction itself is final. Lalo nag-isut ko nga kailangan final yun. Because sabi instances that if the case has already been decided by the lower court, but then again, the case has been appealed to a higher court, like if that's MTC, gi-appeal papunta sa regional trial court, or dito sa court with appellate jurisdiction, just like your Court of Appeals, like your Supreme Court. So it means that the sentence itself is not yet final. So kailangan, before the grant of any forms of executive clemency, dapat the sentence should be final. Another, he shall also have the power to grant amnesty, as what I mentioned earlier, of course, with the majority, concurrence of the majority of the members of the Congress. So under the Philippine Constitution, 1987, in particular, Section 1 of Article 7, it is provided there, clearly stipulated there, that the power to enforce and administer the laws, which means carrying them into practical operation and enforcing their due observance. So the President shall ensure that the laws are faithfully executed. Kung sabot pasabot, though there is a so-called discretion coming from the President, most especially if it is in a form of pardon, pero kinakailangan i-make sure po that the general qualifications before the offering of pardon, whether it's absolute or conditional, kinakailangan i-make sure that that sentenced offender who is most likely qualified of absolute or conditional pardon has already served the required number of years of sentence. Importante na siya kaayo. Then another, just for in case, okay? Just for in case may malimot ang presidente, kinahanglan yan na pong i-review of Philippine Constitution. That it is clearly stipulated there that your pardon, for example, okay, it can never be extended in the case of impeachment or otherwise provided by the Constitution. Another instance, Ana, aside from the impeachment, if the case itself is against the election law, unless there is an approval coming from the COMELEC, so that is a different thing. But as a general rule, hindi siya pwede yun. If it is, again, against the election laws or in some instances, in cases of impeachment. Another, the President may grant reprieve, commutation of sentence, pardon, the remit of fines and forfeiture, and other, of course, kinahanglan nga convicted of a final judgment. So, kung mangutana muna ako, ma'am, if you are saying, okay, ma'am, if you are saying, okay, kung mangutana muna ako, ma'am, and how about our former president, okay, Erap Estrada, was he impeached? Kung muna yung pangutana, then the answer is no. He was not impeached. Nga nung niingon mo kung he was not impeached? Because Erap Estrada was granted of an absolute pardon. So meaning to say, kanong yung pagkawala sa iyang position before, it was not due to impeachment, but rather he resigned sa iyang position as the president. Though it is true that a case of impeachment on that was about to be filed, but then again, wala to siya na-pursue because wala nakaabot sa required votes, coming from the Congress. So that is why he was not impeached. But for the other cases like plunder, he was found guilty. That was the reason why na imprisoned siya. So again, klaro ko na to, ma'am, naabay technicalities, okay, or is it the move of former President Gloria Arroyo erroneous by granting an absolute pardon? The answer is no, it was not erroneous, it was not wrong in simpler term, simply because, again, let me emphasize, Erap Estrada was not impeached. That is why he is qualified. Okay? And in fact, when Erap Estrada ran for president again, okay, katong he was extended of an absolute pardon, many questioned if Erap Estrada is really eligible. Okay? They were asking if he was really eligible. So, moto, pagkalugayan, the administration of former President Gloria Arroyo was forced to divulge to the public that the type of pardon that was extended to our former President Erap Estrada was an absolute pardon. Remember, guys, that there are two types of pardon. One is conditional, the other one is absolute. So, sa juig na kung kalainan aning duwa, advance information lang. So, sa may kalainan na ng duwa, when you say absolute pardon, meaning to say all the criminal liabilities are extinguished. Okay? Except for the civil. Because ang civil, kailangan naman nung indemnify. Just for in case ang imong civil, ang imong civil indemnification is this certain amount, all you have to do is to pay. But in terms with the criminal liability, wala akong magutangan sa absolute pardon. Maunang, if absolute pardon is extended, automatic, all the civil rights of the person are being restored. When I say restored, meaning to say, automatic na he can run to any elective position in the government, just like what Era Estrada did. He ran as president again, and in fact, he almost won the election during that time. Okay? So again, dili siya pwede sa kaso in cases of impeachment. So there are various forms of executive clemency. You do have pardon, you do have reprieve, amnesty, and commutation of sentence. So unsa ang pardon? Ang pardon is an act of grace given by those charged with the power and authority to execute laws which exempts the individual subject of pardon from punishment which the law inflicts for a crime he has committed. So meaning to say, ang pardon ang iyang nature is in a form of contract. Why did I say that the nature of pardon is in a form of contract? Because before you can extend pardon, kinahanglan you need to offer the pardon. And once there is an offer to give pardon, kinahanglan the person who will be extended of pardon, iyahang dawaton. Like for example, if I am the president and akong inong si Tapulano, I will extend conditional pardon nimo. So si Tapulano or Juan has the right to accept or not accept the offer. Kung yun siya, ay, dili ko kailangan anong conditional, gusto ko absolute. So, matulog po na niya. That is why I have emphasized that pardon, yung nature is in a form of contract. Kinahanglang i-offer o kinahanglang dawaton sa person na iwang i-offeran. Okay? Ang kinahanglan po, with regards to pardon, ang imong tagaan na should not be a political offender. Dili na siya pwede member sa NPA, MILF, dili siya pwede. Dili pwede. Okay? Katong mga members sa mga political offenders, ang pwede nila is only amnesty. So another type of forms of executive clemency is you do have reprieve. Okay. So our reprieve is execution of sentence is being stayed or postponed. It is another prerogative exercised by the President which is applied to death sentences already affirmed by the Supreme Court. Okay, so again, your reprieve is commonly utilized for death sentences only. In the Philippines, if we look at the history of law and the history of death executions, okay, of death sentences, makita nato that reprieve were commonly used before. Okay, kaya ang wato ng sa reprieve, pwedeng mo gamitin niyo siya sa president para ma-postpone ang execution. Dili sa i-execute. Okay, dili sa bitayon, dili sa lethal injection, or any forms of way of how death sentence will be executed. So, with the help of reprieve, pwede siya ma-stay. Okay. O sa may bawaton sa presidente kung iyang gamiton ang reprieve. So, iyang i-review ang files that is umulitan. That is being reviewed by the president. Pag-reviewhan na niya if there is a possibility that pwede ma-compute or there is a chance nga if a person's sentence will be commuted from death, inuuna ng life sentence. So, pwedeng ma-rehabilitate ang person. So, it depends sa Japon sa konsensya sa presidente. But, for sure, kabalo mo ani, this is very famous, katong Leo Echegaray. Okay, sa Leo Echegaray, reprieve was not utilized during that time. Kay Leo was executed. But don't you know, sa panahon yung i-execute si Leo Echegaray, he was interviewed, he was asked if he really did it. Then, he stand firm yun that he did not rape his daughter. Okay, so sa may nahitabuan na it created another negative impact to the government. Mo na siya. But for me, sometimes, enforcement of the law, stringent enforcement of the law, like death sentences, is also very important. Because remember, kaya pag-execute sa usa ka example death sentence, it creates deterrence. When I say deterrence, there are two types of deterrence that is being created in terms of the execution of the death sentence. Una, it creates a general deterrence. Meaning to say, na mga tao, mga spectators, mga would-be criminals, mga criminals that are not yet executed, no, they will think twice, thrice if they will commit such offense. Okay, kay mahadlok sila that it will be executed. Another, the stringent execution of death penalty also creates a specific deterrence. Meaning to say, na person na imo mag-execute already learned this lesson. Pero ayaw mo kabala ka because if death sentence is being executed, kaya pong tao to be executed is given the opportunity to repent. So it's up to him or her if he will admit his sins. But in the case of Leo Chegaray, until the last moment, iyadjong gitindugan nga he did not commit the crime. So, it's up to you if you will believe him or not. Another is amnesty. So, I've already discussed this. So, it is an act of grace given by the concurrence of the Congress. So, again, let me repeat before mahatag sa Presidente ang amnesty to a group of political offenders, kinahanglan that there is a concurrence coming from the Congress session. So, normally, your amnesty is considered as a general pardon or a blanket of pardon. Hindi, tawag mo siyang general or blanket of pardon because your amnesty are given to a group of people. Unlike your pardon that it is given individually, your amnesty is in a form of group. So, just like blanket, pag ay ng habol, o kung maghabol mo, pila mo amok masunod sa habol. Diba, naiduwa, naitulo, so on and so forth. Just like your amnesty is a blanket or a general pardon. Another is commutation of sentence. So, it is a remission of the portion of punishment. So, a substitution of a lesser punishment for a greater one. So, your commutation may take a place without the grantee's consent. So, unlike your pardon, kailangan na i-consent, kailangan i-accept, kailangan i-offer. Your commutation is still kailangan. So, normally, commutation of sentence is being utilized kay para po for those who are sentenced of death penalty, malower siya from death, may mo na lang life imprisonment. Okay, so now let's talk about pardon. So, as what I have mentioned earlier, there are two types of pardon. Okay, you do have an absolute and you do have a conditional pardon. So, your pardon is granted by the President, and as such, it is a private act which must be pleaded and must be accepted. Mo na kung i-emphasize kanina nga your pardon is, ang iyang nature is in the form of contract. Kinanga i-offer, kinanga pong dapaton sa person to be granted. If such offer is not accepted, then that pardon can never be given. So, again, it is a private act of the President. Manang ayaw na mo question mark na nung gitagaan si Ruben Padilla o absolute pardon because he is qualified. So, first type of pardon, absolute. Okay, so, as what I have mentioned kanina, with your absolute pardon, ang mahitabo is that all the criminal liability are being extinguished. Giwala. So, unsa man lamang nabilin? Civil liability. Ma'am, saan mo pagwala sa civil liability? Sa'yo, rabot kaayo na. All you have to do is to pay your civil damages. Your civil liabilities. So, kung mawa yung bayad, mapakita ka resibo, you can present that you were able to pay, And makaproduce po ka itong 2 affidavits needed, so wala na yung problema. Then you will be released, pinaagi sa absolute pardon. So, another does not usually have to face any kind of punishment. Ako pangutana, ngano ka ha, nga pwede man nga mo run as president, run as mayor, run as kapitan, the moment ihatag is conditional, ang ihatag is absolute pardon. Nahitabo na siya nga pwede ra, it's because ang hawid mo sa government is your criminal liability. So meaning to say, kung matagaan na kang absolute pardon, wala yung hawid ang gobyerno nimo. Kay ginilinguish man, wala, gilimove naman ang imuhang liability. Okay? So what if, another example, what if an absolute pardon is granted pagkahuman na-granted na-receive na po. Then pagkahuman after a while, after 2 months or 3 months, naka-decide ang president kaya po ako magbalik. Yang i-revoke ang absolute pardon given. Question, pwede ka halagay na? Pwede ka lang buhaton sa president? Is that legal? Okay. The response for the query or question is that dili na siya pwede. Anong dili naman pwede nga bawion pabalik sa presidente? Simply because wala na yung hawid ang presidente. Wala na yung hawid ang government. Kaya wala na may criminal liability. Okay? Muna, kung ihatag na-accept na comply na ang tanong mga requirements na enjoy na, if it is an absolute pardon, hindi na muna siya pwede. Kuhaon pabalik. So, what are the purposes of granting absolute pardon? Una, to right or wrong. Second is to normalize the tumultuous political situation. Why is it emphasized here to right or wrong? Remember that our judge and justices are also human beings. Meaning to say, that there are also instances na naadyan yung mga error. So, the only way to correct it, the only way to somehow correct the injustice received is pinaagi sa absolute pardon. So under the design purpose, to do away with the miscarriage of justice, another, to restore the full political and civil rights of the person who have already served their sentence, another is to keep abreast with the current philosophy in the administration of criminal justice system. So earlier, I've mentioned that once absolute pardon is offered and you decided to somehow accept it, so these are the things that you need to comply. Okay? So if mag-file ka, so these are the things that you need to comply. Okay? So first, you need to have at least 2 affidavits coming from the responsible person in your community. Okay? So, this person, kinahanglan, shall state the petitioner that have conducted himself in a moral and law-abiding manner since his release from prison and shall indicate the petitioner occupation and his social activities, including the religious involvement. Another requirement is that kinahanglan mo po ang clearances. Mura po kang na-apply o para mo exam, kailangan na INBI, kailangan na PNP, kailangan na prosecutor, kailangan na court. Wala pa naman kayo para mo exam. Another is, pinaka-importante, is that kinahanglan maka-provide ka proof of payment of indemnity. So, this refers to your civil liability. So, yung mabayaran, kailangan yung resibo, that's it. So, okay, what are the minimum requirement for the petition for absolute pardon? Sa una, kinahanglan 10 years, pero karon, pwede na 5 years from the date of the expiration of his maximum sentence, which is more beneficial to you. Pero kinahanglan which is more beneficial to you kay, again, for humanitarian reasons, hindi na consider ang political affiliation, hindi na consider ang age, However, the board may consider Okay, the board may consider a petition before the grant of release and discharge under the provisions of Section 6 Act of 4103. So, kani, in seeking an appointed or elected position or reinstatement in the government, this medical needs medical treatment abroad, or will take any government exam. Usaway both pasabot ani that even if a person has already been granted parole, pwede na Japon siyang qualify for absolute pardon. Muli nangitabo ni Koan Robin Padilla alias Bad Boy, pero kalong good boy na crew. So muli nangitabo niya, iway niya sa parole, pero before nga matagaan siya o certificate of final release, absolute pardon was extended by our dear President Duterte. Okay, kumuha na mo ma'am. Ano naman, isunod ba siya sa mga qualification? Yan, isunod siya because Colonel Good, he is an artista and I think may kuha po siya sa position sa government and then appointed siya ngayong sige po siya gawas sulod sinasod because of the nature of his job as an actor. Anak. Okay? Next is conditional pardon. So refers to the exemption of an individual within the limits or conditions from the punishment the law inflicts for offense he has committed, resulting to the partial extinguishment of the criminal liability. So it is applicable in inmates facing a fixed or determinate sentence or life imprisonment who are not eligible for parole. So kung mangutana muna ako, ma'am, na usa mo rin akong kalainan between absolute pardon and conditional pardon. Ang ako bilang kalainan is in terms with the extinguishment of criminal liability. Kaya with absolute, it's the total, it's 100% removal of the criminal liability. Pero sa conditional pardon, wag sale sa Robinson. Only 50% of your criminal liability is being removed. Meaning to say, na by 50% ang kailangan yung bayaran sa gobyerno. So, sa may pasabutan na, tungod nga na pa kay balayan sa gobyerno na ay hawid ang government nimo. Therefore, if you cannot abide with the conditions attached with the conditional pardon, pwedeng it will result to the revocation. When I say revocation, kwaon pagbalik ang absolute pardon, or it might result to modifications. When I say modifications, meaning to say usbon ang part of the conditions or the entire conditions. Okay? So these are the categories of prisoner who shall not be considered for absolute pardon. So, kung eligible ka o parole, hindi ka pwede sa absolute pardon. Another, if ang petitioner had been sentenced to another prison term within 1 year from the date of his recommitment, okay? So, na-prison na po ka, giga sa, kasi tawag gani, na-prison na po ka within 1 year, so hindi ka pwede. Or, posibleng lisa po ka, so hindi ka po ka pwede. Another, the prisoner is suffering from any mental disorder, so hindi ka po pwede. Then another, the prisoner has been given a conditional pardon before and then iyang i-violate ang mga conditions. So, therefore, hindi siya pwede mo qualify. Okay, so these are the instances nga hindi ka pwede sa conditional pardon. So, as you can see, even if ang pardon is a private act of the President, pero nakaradya po yung mga conditions na angay sundon. If such not conditions, but qualifications. If such qualifications are not met, so, bisag usap na naka-private act sa Presidente, hindi dyan po na niya pwedeng ma-exercise. So, these are the common attached conditions if magalaan ka conditional pardon. So, the pardonee, when you say pardonee, this refers to the person given an absolute pardon. So, if ginagaan siya absolute pardon, i-enjoy na niya ang tawag sa iya is pardonee. Kaya kung mag-supervise niya, ititawag nga pardon officer. But then again, the pardon officer will only apply if you are given conditional pardon. The pardonee term will only apply if you are given conditional pardon. If it is an absolute pardon, then you are not addressed as pardonee. If free person ka. So, the pardonee must not leave his designated residence and shall not change his residence without obtaining first the consent coming from the board. When I say consent, we are not referring to oral. Okay, kinahanglan, the consent should be written. Another, the pardonee shall not indulge in any injurious or vicious habit and shall avoid persons and even places with this reputable character. Kasi sabot-ani, kinahanglan, well, on pardon pa ka, kinahanglan you should not engage to any mga away-away, di ka pwede mo ato o mga sabungan, di ka mo ato o mga illegal drug den, di ka pwede mo ato o mga gambling den, di ka pwede mo ato o mga bar, ay mga babaeng gahubuga sayaw-sayaw. So these are places na hindi pwede mo. If you will violate these conditions, so it will result for the modification. Pero kung ikaw nangita og away, okay, ikaw naka-reato sa bunga, nilakpan ka, kaya wala permit ang atong sabong or tabo. So, ang may tabo ay yung pag-expect og modification na ay possibility that your conditional pardon will be revoked. Okay? Another, kaniba ito, shall not commit any crime. So, if you will commit any crimes, then it will result to the revocation of your absolute pardon. So, as you can see, it's very difficult if you are a pardonee and madagan mga conditions. Remember guys, that in these three given conditions, these are just some na additionally panghatag ana. Ang purpose ana is to make sure na even if you are already in the community, still ang process of reformation and rehabilitation is still ongoing. Another is the minimum requirement for the petition of conditional pardon. So, kani, if ang iyong kaso is murder or parricide and you are not sentenced of reclusion perpetua, so you are qualified to apply for conditional pardon at least 2 years. Another, at least 1 year from the minimum sentence if you are convicted of homicide. And at least 9 months if you are convicted of frustrated homicide. And another, at least 6 months if convicted of an attempted homicide. So again, these are the minimum requirement para makafile ka o petition for conditional pardon. Okay? So, for your assignment, kindly write your insights in today's Okay, so this is your assignment. So number one, kindly write your insights in today's discussion. Second, what is your stand on Mr. Padilla's grant of absolute pardon? Third, why parole is not considered as an executive clemency. Okay, so don't forget to write in the comment section your answers for today's discussion. Bye!